Hey, I'm Lex.
I'm Gibby, and welcome to another episode of Porch Swing People. Well, this is it. This is the last of our 3 trial guests.
Can you tell the listeners a little about our 3 trial guests?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about them, but you guys should go back and listen to the episodes. Our first trial guest is the guy that we're having on today. The second one was Abby, and then she came on and did a sit with us a couple
Real
weeks ago.
episode.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then we had Steffi, a good friend of Lex, that came on, and she had maybe 3 months ago came on and was
No, Steffi was one of our first guests way back.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, she also was a trial guest. And you know what? It was so important for our trial guest episodes because we had no idea what we were doing. It helped us get fine-tuned
Calibrated.
of how we wanted to run the show that we do together.
Yeah. You know what's fun about Steffi and Abby's trial episodes? We did those back to back, which is how we record on our weekends. We do back to back recordings. And we had things a little bit more penciled out in terms of the flow of the episode and what our major objectives were. But with this guest, Michael, who is my brother, Gibby's
And
son,
my son.
we had no idea what we're doing. Should we bring Michael on for our last trial guest repeat episode?
Let's bring Michael on.
Hey, Michael. First of all, your tech blows our tech out of the water. Like, look at his professional microphone and his look at his headphones.
I'm borrowing these from Andre. My old ones my cat ate.
Uh-oh.
Casualty of the cat. How is that little guy doing?
She's doing really good. She's been getting really playful lately. I think she's entered her terrible teenager.
Aw. Remind us what her name is.
Moog.
And remind us
Moog.
they're
Moog. It's the first synthesizer ever made was by the company Moog. It's actually pronounced Moog, I think, but
Moog is a cute cat name. Yeah. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
No problem.
Do you remember helping us last year when we were trying to make a podcast and we asked you to join us?
Yeah, of course. And all of our audio and my internet was so bad and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you recall, Gibby, we had to have Michael's camera off because that was the only way we could hear him without it freezing up.
But no, we got good internet now.
Yeah.
So, Michael, have you been on a podcast?
No, I mean yours one time as the test.
Yeah.
That was the test.
That was the very first time. And I imagine afterwards you were probably like, this will fail.
He didn't think that.
Michael, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I'm your guys' sibling and son.
True.
I live in Utah. I play a lot of music. I work as a AV tech, and I'm also going to school to hopefully get an engineering degree, but that's kind of a long way away.
Cool. Lots of awesome things. When's the last time that you did an open mic somewhere?
Last year, maybe around mid-year.
So too long ago.
Yeah, too long ago. Honestly, one of my resolutions for this year is there's a jazz night at a record store, and it's to play there this year at some point.
That's awesome. Okay, so what jazz song would you play?
There's a bunch of jazz standards that I still need to learn. I definitely know the theory behind it, but I need to take the effort to learn the songs.
Cool.
Would you play the guitar or the piano or both?
Definitely the piano.
Very cool.
Yeah, that is
probably
cool.
more technically skilled with the piano than guitar.
I would think
Really?
next time you come visit, we will have you play some stuff for the kids.
Okay. I would love to teach the kids. That would be so awesome.
Well, yeah.
Are you done telling us about yourself?
You did not talk about your cat.
Yeah, I just got a cat a few months ago. I got her when she was 2 months old. So she's around 6 months now. Her name's Moog. She's so awesome. First cat I've ever like been around for an extended period of time.
Do you take her on walks?
I've taken her outside before. Like I have a little harness on her. She gets really afraid.
Do we talk about getting one of those backpacks?
I've thought about that. I also think she just gets really like super shaky, and I feel like she'd want me to like, if we were outside, she wants me to like hold her or like be on my shoulder.
Well, that would be the cutest thing in the world, to take her on a walk where she's like in her little harness, but just perched up on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I just thought was cute? Okay, so Gibby's dog Poppy, you call her Pop. I call Mosby Mo. You could call Moog Moo.
Mug.
Moo. Moo.
Moo.
Shorten it as much as possible.
Hey, Michael, it's game night. Which game do you choose to play for the evening?
This is never the one that we end up playing, but I love Monopoly. I love playing it. That's why I picked this question.
We literally just did our recording with Josh, our mutual cousin, during which I said, I hate Monopoly. I hate playing Monopoly.
Do you remember when we played for my birthday, and you flipped the board?
No, I did not flip the board.
You did flip the board. What are you talking about? No. I remember exactly the scenario when you flipped the board.
That's a fun memory that you've created in your mind, but yeah, I would never flip a game board.
I've had a lot of people get angry at me for Monopoly.
Have you ever had a successful Monopoly game?
I was going to ask.
Where everybody's happy. Okay, so
all the way to where you had a winner.
Number one, yeah, you finished the game. Number two, everybody still likes each other at the end of the game.
I definitely have played to where we finished the game. Usually it ends with some people being upset for sure.
So why would you play that?
Because it's awesome, because I get to win. I like
you win a lot. Oh my gosh. Do you usually win?
Yeah.
Are you a ruthless, like, I'm a
ruthless Monopoly player.
I'm taking everything.
Absolutely. I'm taking everything. I'm manipulating people to get property.
Billionaire at heart kind of thing.
The question that everybody that's listening wants to know, though, is which piece?
Which properties?
No.
What's your favorite property?
Which the piece that you're playing?
Oh, the game.
Are you the top half?
The game token.
I usually do the shoe. But for anybody out there who wants to be good at Monopoly, take the light blues and the purples, and that's how you win. You just get if you get those two, you win the game for sure. You kind of want the cheap ones because they're a lot easier to get, and it's also a lot easier to get houses on. Or like the dark blues. I'm super nerdy about stuff, so but like the dark blues are like the mathematically least likely thing to be rolled.
Those are the ones at the end?
Yeah, those are the ones at the end. That's like Park Place and
stuff.
Park
Place, yeah.
Because when you go around the board, there's so many opportunities for you to skip, like get moved around. And so getting all the way around the board is actually fairly unlikely.
Go all the way to go, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So if you get a go all the way to go, you just pass all those properties.
But you're always going to pass the ones in the beginning.
You're always going to pass the earlier ones.
Okay.
And also it's a lot cheaper to like get to
to invest in.
Yeah, to invest in. And most people want the better places. So if you're just able to like give those better places away fast and like get the cheap ones that people don't want, even like the Browns are really good. I love the Browns.
Those in the middle?
Those are the first ones, very first.
Okay, so does this all translate to real life?
Well, I'm not.
You're going to start buying properties and you're like, well, according to Monopoly.
According to Monopoly, I'm supposed to get the cheapest
people who are
possible.
When you go past go, it's statistically likely.
And and I get thousands of dollars by just passing go every once in a while in real life. Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be lovely. So how about this? Tell us a topic you could talk about for hours.
I definitely think I could talk forever about music theory. I'm a really big nerd in a lot of things, like the Monopoly thing. I'll just get like super in depth with like the mechanics behind it, and like music is something that you could just go so far deep into that I could really just talk about forever.
So tell us something about that.
Okay.
Anything.
Okay, so in any modern pop song that you listen to, it's in a specific key, which is made up of a certain amount of notes from our standard amount of notes that we have in like Western music, which is 12. And so most of them is like in a major or minor key. And so that's consisting of like 8 notes. But as soon as you kind of think a little bit beyond just a major and minor, what I'm working on right now is trying to like memorize every mode, which is like basically different keys. So like you can have like a C major, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, or you can have let's do C mixolydian, and that is C, D, E, F, G, A, and then a B flat, which is also the F major scale as well. So you can have like the C mixolydian scale and the F major scale are the same thing. And there's something called like mode substitution. So you can basically take C major and then you could play C mixolydian with that and it would sound okay. And what that kind of does is make a way for you to hop keys like with a natural sounding, like
Transition.
your ear could pick it up, but it wouldn't be like as obtuse. You can just like fluidly go into any key with that kind of thinking.
Can you think of a song that does that?
Can I think of a song? It's a lot about improvisation. Like that's like a lot of like jazz stuff is like improv and like understanding the key signature, like the key that you're in, and then what you can do with that key and how to transform it. So a lot of it is improv, or if you listen to a lot of like jazz and stuff like that, then you can start hearing that stuff.
Okay, so for someone who has almost no idea what you're talking about, if you are if you transition to things that aren't in the same mode, then it sounds very unnatural.
Yes. Yeah. So
So
if you took like, if you were in the key of C and then you went to the key of A flat, actually that would work. Okay, A.
Sure.
It would sound really unnatural and you would definitely hear it and it would definitely be weird.
And people would feel uneasy about it.
And people, you would get like, yeah, anybody probably would pick up on it. But there's a way to fluidly get there through like the system. And it's like, also you could probably get there through the circle of fifths, which is, so we like take a key and you have 8 notes to that key. If we take the C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then the fifth of that scale is G. So you can also hop from C to G pretty well, because basically if you think about like C being your home note, like if you ever hear a song where it just like ends and it sounds like totally finished and like it sounds complete, it's probably ending on that 1 is what we call it. It's ending on the 1. And then the farthest thing away in the scale is the 5th interval. And it's kind of like, basically that's like pretty much the middle. And so it's the farthest away. So you're almost like breaking out of that scale from being so far away from it. And you can do that. You can just go from like 5th to 5th to 5th to 5th to 5th. So that would be like C to G to D to A to E to B.
Gibby, how are you feeling about this? Do you understand what he's talking about?
I think it's brilliant. And I love that you're fascinated with it. Have you seen those videos where, because you were talking about notes, and there's like, we have these core, what a lot of songs just have a core 3 or 4 notes. And the songs, I've seen these videos where they're playing a song with these 3 notes, and then they just go into the lyrics of another song it's the same 3 or 4 notes.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is like chord progressions. And so basically there's a few chord progressions specifically in like pop music that's super, super popular, that's really easy to listen to. there's chord progressions.
Let me see. Is it C, G, A minor, F?
Yeah, so 1 5 6 4. That's a common one. That's what you just said right there.
Look at that.
Look at
I
the
said
big
numbers.
head on
I
Lex.
thought I said letters, but I said numbers.
Super popular. There's probably thousands and thousands of songs made with that chord progression. Yeah. So yeah,
So
there's so many.
music theory is actually music science.
I think there is some, it's a mix for sure. Cause like the theory would be getting into like the 1 5 6 4 is really popular. And you can like speculate on why it's popular. But there's also a bunch of science behind why it may be popular. Kind of like that thing. So you're going from like the home note 1 to all the way, which is 5. You're going one step above that to the 6th, and the 6 is like a minor, so it kind of gives that a little bit of tension.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 6 and the 4 are really closely related, and so then you go to the 4, so it's still kind of like holding that tension, but the 4 sounds maybe a little bit more like we're like easing into that kind of like finish, and then we go back to the 1, which is like the finish.
And the 1 is C.
In the C, yeah, in the key of C, it would be C. Yeah.
So, okay, I've got a couple of things to share from somebody who has, like I said, almost no idea what you're talking about. Number 1 is I heard this interview with Paul McCartney where he was talking about like back in the early days, people would be like, tell us about your music, tell us about the chords you chose or whatever. That's so brilliant. You put these together. And he's like, I don't know, it just sounded good. I feel like there's artists who are like that. And then there's artists who understand the music theory. One who comes to mind would be Charlie Puth. Everyone talks about how genius he is. So you are definitely on that side of the spectrum.
Well, I wouldn't say, I mean, I don't have perfect pitch like Charlie Puth, but I definitely do like when I'm playing, I definitely do understand what I'm.
And it's fun to enjoy that, to understand the ideas behind that.
So like once you start to understand, like I know a lot of musicians that don't like music theory at all. And I think that's a little silly because it's like they describe it as like music theory puts you in like a box because, you know, then like if
because it's kind of formulaic, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of formulaic. But the thing about it is that like once you really understand it, you're breaking free from the box that you're setting for yourself. And also you can have an understanding of like what's going to work. Choosing not to learn it just to, you know, go based off vibes, I just don't get the point of that.
That's really well put, though.
I don't get the vibe on that.
Did you hear the choir rendition of the national anthem at the ENC? I think it was 2 years ago, before the 2024 election. They had this choir of teenage kids who came in and sang it, traditional like Black choir themes. And then so what so interesting, so this is my limited ability to talk about this, but on the part where it says the land of the free, you need to listen to this. They changed the free, whatever note that is, to a minor chord, I guess. And it kind of, just like you were talking about, it has that tiny bit of tension. And it was people were speculating that it was designed to make you think like, a little ironic, the way that we sing this song and talk about freedom in America. And I thought it was so powerful how they were able to do that with just that one word in the song. So you need to go and listen to that.
That's what I love about music, is just like how powerful it is. And that's why I think like knowledge and stuff like that is so also powerful, because like you get to understand like that you can possibly do that, when if you just don't train your ear or don't train or don't like try to learn any theory and stuff like that, you're just going off of
vibes, like you said. You're can't make those decisions in an
like the argument
way.
of like being in a box, like if you don't learn and push yourself outside of the box that you start with, just with yourself and your understanding of music, you're never gonna break free. What you were just talking about, like gospel and stuff like that. I love gospel, and it uses so much really, really interesting theory. Like reharmonization is probably what you're talking about, where you can like have the melody,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't have to adhere to basically any key. Well, I mean, that's not true, but like you don't have to adhere to the rules to keep that, as long as that melody is the same, it still sounds good. And because you're reharmonizing, it sounds so much more interesting pretty much every time. I
Yeah,
love
you're
gospel.
kind of
My
changing
favorite.
up the dynamics of the
Mhm.
messages being sent.
Yeah, I think music is probably the most powerful thing that I know about.
You could talk about this for a long time. Let me ask you, just keep on going on this though. So you play several instruments. You enjoy the piano the most?
Right now, I definitely switch. It's a little cliche, but it's so easy to visualize on the piano, like and like have a really good understanding of like what's happening. And there's amazing guitarists who feel like the opposite, where like guitar, it just makes sense. For me, I just like see the piano and I can understand like, okay, this is like the system that we're working with. Even if I'm playing guitar, sometimes I'll visualize it in my head as a piano, like the piano notes,
Yeah.
so I can
So this is
understand
where
it.
I'm like what you're saying is people visualize it and they can see things different easily. This is why I feel so confused about people who play brass instruments. Like, what are you visualizing? How are
Mm.
you seeing that?
Yeah, it's really weird. I honestly like don't even really fully understand how brass works,
I
but
was going to
yeah, it's
ask
so
you that.
amazing.
I was going to ask, so orchestras or, big movements with all of the instruments, a whole nother level.
Hmm.
Have you been delving into that, or are you just focused on?
Or what about percussion?
Percussion is definitely my like really rhythm is probably my least skilled part of being a musician. It's something that I've been practicing really regularly recently to try to improve.
We could do a whole episode on this.
We
It
could
would
do
be
a whole
fun.
episode on this, but we will switch over to another topic that I feel like we could easily do a whole podcast episode on, which is food. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us about a meal that you had that was so good that you still think about it occasionally.
Okay, when I saw this question, I like the reason I put it down is because I just had such an immediate answer.
Mm.
I went to Spain last September, and I would wake up and go outside of my hostel, and there would be this restaurant that served this like crab pasta for breakfast, and it was legit the best breakfast I've ever had.
Wow.
And it was so awesome. Like the other two people that I went with would like go out partying, so like they would wake up super late. So I would just like go downstairs by myself and have breakfast, and it would just be me sitting in Spain in like a very nice day outside, and I would just be eating this pasta. It was
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. The whole thing sounds so dreamy and
Yeah, it was very
picturesque.
dreamy. It was
Did
awesome.
have you ever tried to like recreate the meal, the dish?
No, I don't even think I could. It was just like so fresh. It was like
Yeah.
everything was like so fresh.
You know,
Like,
it's easy to make pasta.
yeah, I made pasta.
No, she's
No,
saying like
from
Oh,
scratch.
from
fresh.
scratch? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
It's
I thought
literally
I can
it's
throw
literally
noodles in a
flour.
pot.
Yeah, I can do that. It's
Hmm.
literally flour and eggs, a little bit of water.
Hmm. Yeah, we've done it together.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then go ahead and try to make the meal, recreate it.
Can I tell a story of seafood?
Are you gonna tell the sushi story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael and I did a trip, the two of us, when, what was you, maybe 8 or 9?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there. 8.
And we went down to Florida together for a couple days. And then on our way down, we stopped at, in South Carolina. I can't remember what the town was.
I think it was Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
You
on
were
the
absolutely
coast.
right.
Fun.
And where we stopped, there was a sushi bar. And so I just ordered a couple rolls, and we were up on the sushi bar, and he was getting busy with it, just putting it in. I mean, it's so funny. It was like, in Finding Nemo, when the shark had the fish hanging out of his mouth.
It was not like
No,
that.
it wasn't that bad, but anyhow, that's how I pictured it. But anyhow, the waitress, when we were on the bar, so She goes, I have never seen a young man tackle raw fish like that before. And Michael looked at me, looked at the dish, and spit out what he had in, and he was done. I was like,
You didn't
really?
have another bite? Oh,
I didn't know it was raw fish. That sounds so
Man.
gross as a kid.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, he was getting
But
busy
did
with
the
it.
waitress
And I just
feel
looked at her
bad?
and I was like, yeah, she did. She was like, I am so sorry. I'm like, it's fine.
Hopefully she never made that mistake again.
Yeah. But it was funny is he was like, look at me. And he's like, are you serious?
I love it now.
When I was a
Yeah.
kid, I didn't like cooked spinach, and we would go get like the spinach ravioli at the spaghetti factory. And Mom had me and Courtney try it. So we try it. We're both like, this is really good, because it is. And then she said, that has spinach in it. Courtney says, huh, I like spinach. And I said, I don't like it.
It might taste good, but you had the word spinach in it.
Michael, do you have plans to go back to Spain again?
I have no like actual plans. I definitely would love to. Especially I just had a friend move over there to Barcelona. And I would love to go visit and definitely get that meal again. It was so good.
And yeah, the meal was probably delicious, and also just the early morning and the sunshine and being outside. Everything about it sounds so lovely.
It was awesome.
And now you got a place to stay if they are a friend. Yeah.
They are my friend. You don't have to throw up the quotation marks.
I just got to make Lex laugh once.
I loved going to Barcelona. It was really awesome. Definitely.
Do you know Spanish?
I mean, I don't really, but I learned a little bit further.
Well, give us something.
Como eres papa?
Where's the
that
bathroom?
Means you were like papa.
Oh. What?
That means you were like papa.
Oh.
And who said that to you?
I'm
not your dad.
I'm not your pa.
There was like me and my friends were quoting Stranger Things a bunch at the time.
Never watched.
I've not seen it either.
I don't love it too much.
If I had watched Stranger Things, would I know that quote immediately?
Probably not.
Oh.
I mean, like, you definitely would be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, but not that.
But it's probably, I mean, it's a pretty off. I mean, it's just like the 11, one of the main characters is like, you are like Papa. And I thought that was super funny. So I learned it in Spanish and started saying it around.
Tell us, what is something important that you make or make sure you carve out time for each week?
My answer to this one also immediately came to mind, and it's therapy. I definitely love my once a week therapy appointment.
That's awesome. I love it so much.
We've never had anyone really discuss that at all, or the importance of it. I do love the fact that you're like, one of my favorite times of the week, or something I look very forward to, is my therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, I recommend therapy to everybody, and I will do it in real time with people I know and don't know. In the middle of a conversation, I'll be like, have you considered therapy? Yeah. And I never want it to come across as like an insult to anyone, because it's definitely not an insult. And I don't want people to feel like defensive. So I'm always like, look, I've been in therapy for years. Have you considered it? It's just amazing to have a third-party person who is just on your side and just there to hear you, and it can be life-changing.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have seen so much benefit. I've been in it. I've been in therapy for like a year, and I've seen so much benefit from it. I would definitely recommend it to everybody.
When you go to therapy, do you like bring notes of things you want to talk about, or you just kind of like go and you're like, well, let's see what happens?
I think when I first started, I bring notes. Now it's kind of more of a whatever kind of happens. And also we're like, I definitely like, there's definitely like vastly different types of therapy, or like different, like even in the same like therapy like thing, there's so many like different parts of it. And I think I'm more in a part that's more of like, he gives me some homework that I go do and then we talk about it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do you get assignments?
Yeah. So when I first started, I remember the first thing that I sat down and told him, I was like, I do not want, like, I just don't think like just listening and like being on my side is necessarily my style that I want right now. I definitely want like really actionable things that I can like start changing my life with. So yeah, definitely there's been a lot of homework of like, this is my goal this week. This is something I need to think about. Like, this is the stuff I need to write down, stuff like that.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that you brought that onto the pod today.
Yeah.
Have you ever like had to reschedule an appointment and then you just feel like, ugh, I missed out on this week and it sucks?
Yeah, definitely. Like even a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I got sick and I had to reschedule, and I was like, dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
I used to be so against a structured week or day, or like such a, like, I like, if I had free time, that's my time to do whatever I want. Now my stance is like basically completely switched with it. Structure is so good, at least for me.
Well, I also think like the things that you structure, you feel good about. And so if you're not feeling good about it, then that's your clue to like reevaluate, like, is this doing what it's supposed to be doing in my schedule? And if it's not giving life, then it's taking away, and maybe I need to reevaluate.
So let me ask you a serious question. When you come out and have dinner and steak, that's probably one of your other best therapy sessions. Come out and hang out with me.
Yeah, you give me therapy. That's
it. So, Michael, kind of continuing on with that theme of working on yourself or learning as you grow, can you tell us your best advice on how to solve problems or overcome obstacles?
Yeah, I think that when it definitely goes back to therapy, and probably one of the first things I really learned in therapy was this, where it's really small steps really do make all the difference. And that sounds so cliche and so silly. And like, there's been so many times in my life when you're feeling bad about your circumstances or you're feeling lazy and stuff like that. You just want to make this big, gigantic push of just like, I'm going to change overnight. And at least for me, I always have, 2 good weeks of that, and then it's snap right back. But the thing that has really like changed me the most is like super, super, super small steps. It's like, it's almost, when I first started, I felt embarrassed by how little they were. You kind of have to sit down and be objective with yourself, and of like, I'm feeling like this with whatever scenario or problem that you're experiencing. And you kind of have to just, without judgment, positive or negative, just be okay with like, that just is a fact that I feel like that. And then small actionable change that slowly accumulates. For me, I call it like cringe mountain. And it's really helped my music play, like my musical ability. Yeah, because like you'll see like fantastic players, and you're like, I just don't sound like that. You have to like be okay with the fact that, okay, I just don't feel like I sound like that right now. How do I get there? And it's a really slow learning process that is really embarrassing and somewhat.
You mean, so what, cringe mountain, you're at the bottom of the mountain, you got a long way to go, and you can only take one step at a time.
That's exactly it. Most people are so like adverse to feeling that embarrassment or like cringe about themselves that they'll never get to that place that they want to be.
Yeah, it's such a vulnerable place to be at.
It's so vulnerable. That's a really good word for it. It's like I'm so vulnerable doing these really small, embarrassing things. The consequences of doing those small things definitely add up over time.
Here's what is interesting about what you're saying. First of all, I want to highlight the awareness without the self judgment part. I think that's a great thing to highlight. With Cringe Mountain, you're taking one step up at a time. When you said that it's embarrassing this how small the step is, I mean, not all the steps may be uniform in size. Like sometimes we have a wider stride than
Absolutely, for
others, but
sure.
even towards the top of Cringe Mountain, when now you've gained experience and skill and confidence, your steps are still small moving forward. I feel that way with
Yeah,
some of the
for
things I've made
100%.
progress in. And I don't feel as embarrassed about those small steps where I'm at towards middle or high of Cringe Mountain versus where I started because of just how much groundwork you have to cover still and how you feel like you're a beginner at it or you're feeling vulnerable. But it's
Hmm.
so interesting that actually the small steps are still that small even later on. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I heard this thing in mathematics that I was like, oh, that really explains a lot of things for me. Cause like I was struggling with math for a little while. And then I heard this thing where it's if you miss one concept when you're early, like early on, it will have such major drastic consequences for your learning ability later. But all you need to do is go back and learn that like really simple thing correctly and understand it. And then you can fly through the rest. But it still is like you're just learning more and more advanced concepts slowly.
Hmm.
And like like I think like pretty much any skill is just like a very slow accumulation to, or at least that's the most reliable way that you could have like a actual chance of like gaining that skill or achievement is like that slow progression.
When you can lean into those small steps forward, you will realize that that is your life. Reaching the top of Cringe Mountain isn't your life. Your life is the entire journey.
Hmm.
And when you are able to find peace in that and knowing that it's okay wherever you are, then you can kind of let yourself feel a little relief that you're still living, you're still moving forward, even if you're not at the place that you wish you were at this point in time. And I guess
I
like it
totally
helps you
agree.
with that patience piece because I feel like I'm a pretty impatient person sometimes. Like I want to be
Yeah,
at the
for
top.
sure. No, I definitely agree that I can be very impatient. I talk about music because that's like one of my goals this year is to really improve at it. You'll see these insane players, and it seems so impossible to be that as you, like you getting to that point. But everybody that you look up to in that has already climbed that cringe mountain. They've just done it before you, so it doesn't seem as embarrassing.
Yes, that is a
Mm.
great analogy. Michael, 15 years from now, what will you remember positively about your life now?
I think by far the thing I'm going to remember most positively about this time is my community and specifically my household and my roommates that I'm living with.
That's a
Yeah.
great answer. Tell us more.
Um, I remember around when I started therapy here like a year ago, kind of like one of my biggest wants out of like that I like just was like I just don't have this right now is like a good community. um I felt like I was in kind of a place where I lost a lot of friends pretty fast.
Hmm.
And also with like COVID and stuff like that, like there's just like years of like not having kind of like a real community for a bit. And then I remember kind of like sitting down with my roommates. I was like, hey, like please invite me to stuff that you are going to with friends, and I'll if that's okay, I'll show up and I'll try to be a good time. And they like completely listened to that. They definitely gave me like so many friends now that I have that I never would have had otherwise. I feel like I'm at a place now, which is pretty crazy, like within like a year time frame, going from a place where I'm like super unsatisfied with my community to being like I'm really satisfied with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
such a short time period. Wow. Well, Michael, this has been like the deepest podcast episode that we've ever had. Great questions, great answers,
Stories.
great
Yeah.
topics. We loved it all.
Well, thank you for letting me come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were the first, and now you're, what number is this? 30?
This is 41.
40. 41.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You made it start.
First guest, and now you're the latest guest.
Well, I'm glad this is the one that it gets to be posted, because I did not prepare my answers enough last time. So I'm glad
well, that's how I mean, we wouldn't have expected you to
figure things out.
Yeah.
But and then of course everybody that's listening knows that you produce the music for our opening and our close. We appreciate that.
That's true. Like, without the opening and closing music, this would just be what? Nothing.
Talking.
Just talking.
Yeah, just talking.
But when you put the music on both sides, going back to music theory, makes you feel things.
And you sit down with a guitar and do the first thing that you can think of, and that's what you guys make the podcast.
Can't change it now. It's kind of like you've been with us in every episode so far, Michael. But thanks for joining us again, and for your time and your thoughts. We, of course, appreciate you, and we're looking forward to this episode coming out in a few weeks.
No problem. I'm glad I could
love you, bro.
Love you, bro.
Brother. Love you, bro.
Bye.
I love you, bro. Thanks, Dad.
Well, I don't believe we've had a deeper conversation with any of our guests than we have with Michael. So much so that I don't know if I said anything. Well, first of all, the one thing he said he could talk a lot about, music and the concept. Wow.
I know, when he first started talking, I'm like, I don't get it. Letters. Lots of letters.
Or numbers.
Lots of letters strung together in different ways that mean different things. Yeah.
Well, it was fascinating to hear him going into it. Another thing that was, I know, and it came off his tongue really easy, is just the fact of therapy and how much it can help someone, in his case, him.
I love that he brought it up. And I said this earlier, I recommend therapy for everybody, and he said he does too. But I do want to put a reminder out there that a counselor or a therapist or a psychologist, they are all just like every other medical provider, where it's not necessarily one size fits all or a match. So if you aren't feeling it, what's keeping you to that particular person? It's okay to try out a couple of different people and see who you connect with and go from there. And that's not a reflection on you. That's just how people work. We mesh or we don't, right?
Chemistry.
I love that he had a meal that he could just, that came to mind immediately.
Yeah.
If we could all be so lucky to have an experience like that, where it's something that you just recall because it's such a lovely time.
Yeah, he had mentioned how lovely the mornings were watching the city wake up. He was like, it was amazing, Dad. You should have seen the place just like came alive.
You know what that reminds me of is the Journey song Lights, which was about San Francisco, I believe. Lights, when the lights go down in the city. People sometimes confuse that with the sunset, but it's actually the sunrise, and it's all the city lights going off when the lights go down in the city and the sun shines on the bay, and that's the sunrise, and it's actually the morning starting.
Right. No, that's very cool.
And I really love that we ended on his happiness with where he's at with his community, and even how he was able to connect that back to the amazing concepts of taking small steps. And the cringe mountain thing, I thought was so funny. I've never heard of that.
Cringe mountain.
Such a succinct way of saying how it really feels to take the first steps towards where you're hoping to go.
Yeah. It was a lot deeper than I anticipated.
Yeah, you might have been stunned there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know how pelicans catch their fish, Gibby?
I think that they dive bomb, mouth open, pop.
Sort of. Actually, what happens when they dive bomb, they hit the water at, I believe, 40 miles per hour, and hitting the water that quickly stuns all of the fish, so they're temporarily like paralyzed. And then they just swim around in a circle and scoop them all up. And
I never
Michael
really
is the pelican, and you are the fish. He's just like,
I was stunned.
It's so deep. I don't know what to say.
Yes.
That concludes another episode of Porch Swing People. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Porch Swing People, out.
Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.